Okay, in this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this example. So if you look, you could read the problem. It says the accountant said, Edward & Son wants a program to calculate and displays the company's annual net income. The annual net income is calculated by subtracting the company's annual expenses from its annual sales revenue. So if we look at this algorithm, our output's going to be our income. The inputs are going to be the annual sales revenue and the annual expenses. So the algorithm is enter in the sales revenue and expenses, calculate the annual net income by subtracting the expenses from the annual sales revenue, and display the outcome here. So we're going to go ahead and write a program to do this. So we're going to need a way to capture our inputs, which we're going to use text boxes for, and we're going to need a way to display our output, which we're going to use a label for. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to go to File, New Project. You're going to go ahead and choose here your location. You're going to choose your H drive. I don't have an H drive because I'm not working at work right now, but so I'm just going to say C. That's a fine spot. And then I'm just going to call it, I don't know, tutorial. Okay. So it's going to go ahead and create this big thing here. So let's go ahead and go to our toolbox, and we're going to go to All Windows Forms, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use a few labels here. So I'm going to copy this. I can go to Edit Copy, Edit Paste. And now I'm going to go ahead and use it in text box. Okay, right there. Let's put one here. And now Edit Copy, Edit Paste. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead here, and I'm just going to click A to Z. I'm going to click this button right here. This will alphabetize everything. It just makes it easier. It's called your Properties window, by the way. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead up here all the way to the top, and I'm just going to, I'm not going to name this because I don't need to, but I'm going to put in some text here. I'm going to call it Enter Revenue. Okay? And I'm going to go to the other one. Let's move that over. And I'm going to put Enter Expenses. Alrighty. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go ahead and name it. This is how we're going to access it in our code. So I'm going to call this Revenue TB for text box. I'm going to call this Expenses TB for, expenses text box. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to take these two. I'm actually going to take this. I'm going to go to Edit Copy, Edit Paste. All right. And I'm going to hit Control C, Control V again, same deal. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to go here and I'm going to put in my text. And I'm going to say profit. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the text. Okay. I'm going to go to Auto Size. I'm going to make this false. Okay. And I'm going to put border style, fixed single. So it'll give it a little bit of a border. So I can see what's going on here. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a name as well. So I'm going to call this thing, this is how we're going to access it in our code. We're going to call this Profit LBO. Okay? So you guys see the difference between putting text in it versus naming it. Naming it is how the code's going to access it, which we're going to learn in a minute. Okay? And now we need a button to do all our, to get the program going. Let's go ahead and get a button. We're going to call this button Calc BTN for button. And then we're going to put on the text, calculate. Okay? Calculate. We're going to make one more button, so Edit Copy, Edit Paste, put it over here. And all this button is going to do is exit. And we're going to call this button Exit. Exit BTN. Okay? So that's our interface. So far, so good. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hold Shift. I'm holding Shift and clicking these. And we're going to go to Format, Align, Lefts. And then we're going to go to these. Format, Make Same Size, Both. And then Format, Align, Rights. Okay, and now let's go ahead and select all this. Format, Horizontal Spacing, Make Equal. Oh, don't do that. Format, let's try vertical spacing. Ah, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Okay, looks good. Nice and lined up. Format, make same size, both. And we just put this on the bottom too. So that's good. And what we can do is here, if you don't want the user to mess with it, we're going to go to lock. Locked, we're going to put true. So now I can't move it, and let's go ahead and lock that one. Okay. You actually do the same for all these, I think. So now they're all kind of there, and they're locked. Okay, I don't really care about that too much. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to go to View, Tab Order. And this is what's going to happen when we click. So first we want this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. I don't care about those. So it's good. When we hit Tab, it's going to go here first, then here, then here, then here, then here. So let's go ahead and View Tab Order. Let's take that off. Okay, so that's tab order. So far, so good. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do some programming. Okay, so we have all this set. We have our inputs. We have everything named. All right, that's called Revenue TV. That's called Expenses TV. That's called Profit LBL, Calc BTN, Exit BTN. It's all locked. Tab order is good. So let's go ahead and double click the Calc button. If we click here, we'll get our form designer. Click here, you get your calc. Okay, so it creates a function that's going to handle the click of the calc button. So what do we want to do? We want to create some variables. So we're going to go ahead and dim profit, comma. We could let's do this on different lines. As we'll say, it might be a decimal. Let's go ahead and dim revenue as decimal. And we could dim okay, the other way you could have done this is put all in one line, but we'll just keep it like this. Okay, so that's step one. So right here, this is step one. Step one. Dim the variables. Okay, these are comments. Okay, let's do step two. Get the input from the form. Okay, this is what we do. We say revenue equals decimal dot triparse me dot revenue TV dot text comma revenue. And what this does is this takes the text that's in the revenue text box and it stores it in the revenue variable. You actually don't need that. Okay, we don't need that. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And we're going to do, we did revenue, we need to do expenses. Right there. And this time we don't want to store it in revenue, we want to store it in, see why naming is important? So we don't get confused. Okay, now we'll just say, step 3, do the math. So profit is going to equal expenses, or revenue, minus expenses. Okay? And step 4 is display the output. Okay? And all we do is this. We say me.expenses, actually profit label.text. So what do we want to put in the text of the profit label? I want to go ahead and I want to put profit. That's it. Now if I want to make it fancy with a dollar sign, I could go ahead and format it. But we don't need to do that right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and try it. And our revenue, let's say, I don't know, $5,000. And our expenses, $3,500. Click calculate. And that's right. That's it. Okay, the last thing we want to do is go ahead and double click the exit. And we're going to put me.close. And this will, if you run it, close the application. So that's it. We have step 1, dim the variables. Step 2, get the input. Step 3, do the math. And step 4, go ahead and do the output. All right. So the last thing we could do is we could go ahead and make this look like money. It's easy enough. Just put .toString, and then we put quote C2 for currency to 2 decimal places. So what this does is it takes the variable, it converts it to a string, and it makes it look like American currency to 2 decimal places. I don't know how to do other currency. I'm not sure how to do that. So let's take a look. So we put 5,000. We hit tab, 3,000. Hit tab, it goes there. I could hit enter. And you'll notice there's a dollar sign. Hit enter, and then there you go. Okay, the last thing we're going to do, since we have some time left, is when we hit enter, we want the calculate button to just work automatically. So we're going to click on our form. You'll know you're on your form if it says form 1. And we're going to go ahead and go to the accept button. And we're going to go ahead and put in calc button. And we're going to find escape button, or cancel keys. Cancel button is going to be the exit button. So what this does, the cancel button gets activated when I hit escape. Okay? And the accept button gets calculated when I hit enter. So if I were to watch this, and I go ahead and put 5,000, and then 3,000, I'm just going to hit enter. And it automatically does that. Now I'm going to hit escape, and it automatically does that. So I don't have to actually click on the buttons. Okay, so that's everything we've covered. Okay, so the things we covered in this tutorial, we're adding objects on a form, naming objects on a form, using the format menu to line things up and make things the same size, using accept and cancel buttons on a form. Remember, accept button was you hit enter, that button gets activated, whatever you assigned it. Cancel button was escape. Tab order, it allows you to make things good when you hit tab. It doesn't, go completely out of order. The 4 steps of a program, which are dim the variables, place the contents of a text box into a variable using try parse, doing the math and outputting the answer to a label. And the last thing we learned was closing an application. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful and you learned a lot, and now you basically know how to create some simple applications in Visual Basic. We're going to use this as a building block and just build as we go. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more interesting tutorials.